spent $2.
They are 99 cents a piece.
That's overpriced.
But yeah, if you haven't heard what our boy Daryl's doing, as soon as he hits 1,000 subscribers, he's
have the agenda already. And
I do, but I bet Tim doesn't. So.
It's literally right here.
Tim's actually in the agenda.
Yeah.
Tim, do
Damn, Tricky, you smooth. Oh, wait, no, who's Sid? Sid's right behind you.
Yeah, well, that's because like I gave Sid access to my PlayStation.
know, I know you guys are trying to help me out, and I appreciate it. So I'll take one.
Did I put something for you?
TC means like trophy count.
Yes.
If Audacity doesn't have a stroke, I think I'm good.
Okay, just hit record, and then let me know when you hit record.
Record has been.
Okay, so I'm talking right now. Now Facebook. Stop that. Just
He had a little bit of bleed, so I'm recommending him try the things we use.
Oh well, what I normally do is it's pot. Where's your microphone that you use? You're gonna have to lower the volume. got the car, but how shitty is that of Hooters to do that?
That's genius. I would applaud that, man. I'd be well done. Well played.
It's an old post, but how are you looking, Riley? So that just lets us know that, lets the editor know, in this case it's Alex, that there might be an issue with your audio. We have to sort that out. Any questions before we start? Alex,
Spikey spike.
I'm going.
yield spiking.
Well, it was when I was talking.
5 seconds of silence. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Shows.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your host, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 598. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, and the legend. It's Alex.
And the man who's maybe too stupid and needs someone to explain the name of the Platinum Trophy for Alan Wake 2. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't get it.
He brings the awesome. It's I Yield to No One.
598 episodes, and you'd figure we'd have the intro music down.
No, the intro music was fine. It's the fact that I had to make a brand new seed because on XSplit, because we have a lot of people here today. He's the man that keeps the embers burning. It's Matt. How you doing, sir?
Just like I added some new trophies this week, I added a new Soundwave figure to the collection. So that was what my day comprised of.
All right, and now we have...
If a Soundwave army ever comes alive and goes to take out, New Jersey and New York City, we all know whose fault it is.
I will be leading them.
All right, we have not one but two guests this week, mostly because one of them would not come on the show with the other one. But we'll save that for a second. Our first guest, he has not one, not two, not three, but 76 brains. It's Riley. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Riley, it's been a long time since you've been on the show, man.
It has been a hot minute for sure.
All right. And the man that would not come without Riley, he is remastering all the way back to 1989. It's Tim. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I don't remember that in the clause of this agreement where Riley was required, but you know what? It will be now. So, okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
It was in your writer. Don't
hold on. Hold on a second.
No green M&Ms, and Riley has to be on the show.
This was a requirement you said to me. I said, hey, Tim, would you like to be a guest on the show leading up to 600? You said only if Riley comes on the show.
Wow, Riley, apparently past Tim holds you very highly in his thoughts. So okay.
Wow.
Present Tim doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Present Tim still remembers how you treat him because he doesn't play Journey. Okay.
Wow.
I only punched you once.
That customer saw it though.
And said you deserved it.
That's true. That's true.
Well, hold on. Riley, you got to bring that back a second because for the people on Twitch, the commitment that Riley has to show, he's drinking out of a platinum cup.
I am. This is my lovely platinum chalice that Yield got me for Christmas or my birthday one year. You can't really see it, but it's got the whole engraved logos, PlayStation symbol.
Well, we can't see it because the green screen's going in and out.
Yeah.
But all right, so
broadcasting from space, it happens.
All right, so it's customary because Tim, I'm not sure if we've ever had you on the show before.
I don't think so. If I'm going to just assume no. If so, it was forever ago, but I'm going to assume no.
All right. So, Tim, obviously, you are a former writer for Proven Gamer, which we appreciate. You were back when Riley was actually working for the site. You were one of our writers. But you have moved on to bigger things without us. I'm going to give you a few minutes to plug your stuff so people can find you on the interwebs.
Oh. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm Tim. I'm one of the main three in the For All Mankind group. So it's, I think, For All Mankind, but add an extra A to make mana. Play on words, yay. We've been around for a few years. We're on Twitch, YouTube. We had a podcast, but it's not there anymore. We're trying to get it back, but that's a whole thing. But yeah, no, that's what we've been doing. I've known Tricky for a while. I've known Tricky because actually I know you because of Riley.
Yes.
So that's how I got a hold of you guys. But yeah, no, that's us For All Mankind. I appreciate letting me plug my stuff. That's cool. Our Discord is also the same. So if you want to come say, hey, we talk about all thing games, all things, anything nerdy. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and there's one regretful thing that I had with Tim is I jumped into one of his Twitch streams and that conversation took a turn.
Look, the good news is, I wasn't against it. I will say it went a lot further down that ladder than I thought it was going to go. But you know what? It was still a good, fun conversation at the end of the day.
And I will say that I was pleasantly surprised that once we started down that conversation, I was regretting it. But as the conversation went, I went, you know what? This is a good conversation. And it didn't get out of hand.
No, and I think that's the thing, right? You should be able to have those conversations and keep them where that level was. Everything was completely respectful. There was no disrespect on any aspect of it, but we were talking about some pretty heavy-handed topics. But it's nice to have those conversations with people who, whether they agree, disagree, or whatever, you can have, and it's still a civil conversation.
Yes. All right, so we've gotten the introductions out of the way. The next thing we do is our updated trophy count. I am level 819, total trophies of 29,504 with 819 platinums. Alex?
Level 498, total trophy count of 9,555, and a platinum count of 164 in 163 games.
Yield?
503 with a trophy count of 9864 and a platinum count of 177.
Matt?
Level 220, total count 1,307 and 0 plats.
Sid is level 878 with total trophies of 25,988 with 817 platinums. I'm still beating you, Sid. Starting to catch up. You got to catch up there, sir. Riley, what about you, sir?
I am level 427, which actually I remember the last time I was on, had just hit level 420, so we made the nice little 420 joke there. So it's been 7 levels since I've been here, but level 427, total trophy count 7674 with 56 platinums.
I just want to say it's probably been over a year since we've done. So you gained 7 levels in a year. I can gain 7 levels in a day. Come on, sir, get it together.
Well, I play real games.
No, you know what? That's fair. That is fair. And Tim, what about you, sir?
Level 187, trophy count of 740 and 0 plats.
All right, listen, you and Matt are on the same level on plats. I tried to talk Matt into it, but I expect you to get the platinum in Spider-Man 2.
Don't do it.
It's such a good game, though. It's so good.
Fantastic.
Matter of fact, so far that when I got the plat, Matt actually asked, "Did you actually enjoy the game?"
Because you played it you started it on Extra Life, and 4 days later, you had it beat with the platinum. And I know you said you spent a good amount of time on Extra Life playing the game, but a game like that, you gotta let simmer and go back to and enjoy, not just hammer out the platinums and be like, I'm done.
I did hammer it out. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
My green screen's messing up. Alexa, turn on right light.
Also, your camera is well off center.
I know, because I'm normally...
I wasn't going to tell him.
No, because I'm normally back... The problem is I got a L-shaped desk. So all my computer stuff is this way, where my camera's that way for when I stream, because it's sitting on top of my TV.
So what you're saying is you can't turn your camera slightly to your side.
No, because... Okay, so this is for the Twitch people. Right here, okay, is the other side of the desk. So if I move the camera over this way more, you're going to see everything. And then the green screen effect doesn't work. So I'm trying to find a different camera to work it, but...
We're going to see
Just,
all his naked pictures of Yield.
Look, turn my camera
Yeah.
left. I can turn it right. Oh, man, so much work.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to prove this right now because I'm being called out and I don't like it. Hold on. So, here.
For the audio
Hey, Riley,
listeners,
you're really mobile.
Riley's just
See?
bouncing back and forth.
That's what
on the
happens. See, that's what
That
happens.
looks great, though. That's fantastic. That's such a good view.
Tim, don't encourage
Oh,
Matt.
what? Oh, sorry.
Don't encourage Matt. All right, so let's get into what we're playing. You know what? I normally go last. I'm going to go first because I've been playing a couple games. I've been playing The Division, obviously.
Still?
Yeah.
I'm glad you went first to tell us you've been playing the game you play every week for like 70 hours.
Well, it's because it's the last game I'm going to mention, which is going to be the conversation piece here. I've been playing Metal Gear, the original one for the NES. Actually, I don't know if it's the NES. It might be the MSX version. Because apparently there's 2 versions of it. I've also been playing... hold on. Metal Gear Solid 2. And then Mortal Kombat 1. Started playing that. And then the last game I'm playing is Hogwarts Legacy. And I bring up Hogwarts Legacy because I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. My daughter was. So I bought the game for her. And then I was going through my PlayStation one day. I was like, okay, somebody needs to play this damn game because I already paid money for it. So I started playing it, and then I got through like the first section of the game. I went, I'm totally lost. So for the last week, I've been watching the Harry Potter movies to the point where I'm on the last movie, and these movies are boring as shit.
Oh, you take that back right now.
These movies are boring as shit.
That is my childhood. How dare you?
Oh
They're
my
like
god!
your wings.
Really, Matt?
Now that was funny.
So I assume there's Harry Potter fans on the show, obviously, because Tim's already spoken out. But
Well, I mean, if we have more than 5 listeners, then I guarantee there's also Harry Potter fans in the listenership.
I just I'm okay. Let me backtrack a second. The storyline so much is somewhat intriguing, but the movies are just bad. It's the way they pace them, the camera angles, the stuff like that. It's just bad films.
So, but you do understand that these are meant for kids, with all the special effects and all this, like the goblins and the fires and the stuff. Like, you know, they're built for kids, not some like 40-year-old guy going back to watch them in the future to criticize the hell out of them.
Okay. Is everybody here seeing the Harry Potter films, or care if we spoil them?
I don't care if you spoil them, but I've never seen them.
I have never seen them.
Are you going to see them?
And no, we should move on with the show.
Okay, here's the thing. If somebody hasn't watched the Harry Potter movies by now, they're not going to, or they don't care enough to watch them. So
Spoilers
I would agree.
are out of effect.
Okay, you know what? How about this? After the show ends, me, Tim,
You can do a Patreon.
we'll do a little Patreon record, and then we'll release that. All right, because there's just problems. Anyway, yeah. So
In fairness, Tim, I mean, the Harry Potter movies, I haven't seen them. I've seen little snippets here and there.
Sure.
Like they're no Resident Evil movies, but they can't be that bad.
I didn't know I was just coming onto the show to get roasted.
Coming on the show to get arrested, buddy.
Well, yeah.
have you not listened to an episode of Trophy Wars before?
Oh my
to be, I don't know why I asked that, because the answer was definitely no. All right, so that's what I've been playing. Let's go to the next person. Riley, you know what? Because you kind of had my back, you can go next.
All right.
favoritism, I see.
Well, obviously, I've been playing Spider-Man 2. I just platinumed that the other day. Such a good game. I'm ready for whatever the DLC is. I'm ready for the next step. It was so good. I've been playing some Rocket League here and there, some Fortnite. I've been doing just lately though. Been playing a lot of puzzle games. At Yield's recommendation, I picked up the Pedestrian a few months ago. And that game, if you like puzzle games at all, I'm telling you, is fan-freaking-tastic.
You're welcome.
It's such a good puzzle game, such a good game. What is it? We were just talking about it the other day. The escape room game. Is it Beyond Time?
Beyond Time, Breaking Time.
Breaking Time. It's you have to look it up. It is amazing. It has some of the best thought out puzzles that I have ever played in any puzzle game, because they're the right amount of, okay, let me really dig into this and figure out what's going on, and to where most puzzle games you hit this thing and you're like, oh shit, I was just completely overthinking it. You're really not, and it's spot on. I feel like that was some of the best designed puzzles I have ever played. I can't wait for the rest of their catalog to hit PlayStation. They said it'll probably be Marchish.
Anything else?
No, I think that is really. I mean, I've been farting around with some Fortnite with one of my coworkers, and Rocket League, and that's it.
OG Fortnite.
So yeah, OG Fortnite. So.
All right, Alex, you're up next.
Well, I played a little bit of Rocket League this week with Riley and Nitro, but most of my time, and I've taken a couple days breaks here. I haven't started anything new because I don't know. I just haven't felt like starting anything new. But I did get the platinum trophy in Alan Wake 2. All it
Loser.
takes is one run through the game. I think it took me 35 hours to get the platinum trophy. So, but overall, like just give my thoughts here. Really good game. I don't think it's a 10 like some places have put out there, but it is really good. It is an improvement in every way over the first game. Great performances by the entire cast, especially the likes of Sam Lake and who plays Alex Casey, Detective Alex Casey. And I can't remember exactly who plays Alan Wake himself, but he maybe turns in the best possible performance because every character is just kind of spot on. But the guy who plays Alan Wake is really good in general. Better controls than the first game and the remaster. So anyone like Tricky who had issues with controls, try this. The movement, the gunplay, it all just works much better. Solid gameplay overall. The guns and the flashlight combo is still super fun to play with. And like I said before, you feel the weight of your shots because enemies will actually like fly back or like flip back after you hit them with shots. Got a Metroidvania style gameplay mixed with sandbox areas. There's not really fast travel, so it's one annoying aspect of it where you have to constantly walk everywhere. You can travel in between certain areas on a car, but once you get to the area, you got to walk everything on foot, which makes cleanup a little bit annoying. But luckily, the trophy list as far as collectibles is pretty forgiving. There's not really a ton you have to get. Saga Anderson, so if you don't know, you play as Saga Anderson and Alan Wake. It's split between 9 chapters between the two of them, so 9 and 9, 18 total. Saga Anderson, really great new character. She fits really well in the story. And you actually, since she's an FBI agent, you actually act like an FBI agent and put clues together, build your case. And that's part of the puzzle aspect of playing as Saga Anderson, who I found more fun to play as because her story and her gameplay is more straightforward, where Alan Wake is more there's like if you get to like the story's not point A to point B, like they kind of talk about spirals in the game, and the way they do storytelling in this is kind of like a spiral where it's just like instead of going in a straight line, they kind of got to go around in circles, which I've said before, I find Remedy's storytelling a little bit overdone. There's way too many layers to it, but again, if that's how they want to do it, that's how I want to do it. But Saga Anderson, because she was more straightforward, and Alan Wake was more spatial puzzles, a little more confusing, a little messier. I preferred playing as Saga Anderson. You can switch back and forth between the characters. Once you get access to both of them, you can switch back and forth at any time to finish out the stories as how you see fit. Downtown Bright Falls looks exactly like it did in the first game, so you'll feel right at home as soon as you go there. Let's see. Break rooms. Oh, one of my big annoyances from the first game, I talked about, how this is an improvement over the first game in every way. Instead of having the annoying collectibles like the manuscripts are still in the game, but you don't have to collect all of them. But you can collect as many as you find, get extra pieces of the story. The really annoying thing, though, was the coffee thermoses. You had to find 100 of them. This time, you don't have to collect them. They're just in break rooms as save points. So, it makes sense. You're a writer staying up late, or, in this long nightmare, get a little coffee, give yourself some extra juice. So they're the save points, which I think is a much better integration for the coffee thermoses. And then they further entwine the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control, along with the Alan Wake universe, which is really nice. I think that's a really cool thing that they've done with their two of their main games. So I like to see that. And yeah, just the last thought, Tross. Tricky had, and I don't know if he mentioned it on the show, but one of our listeners, I mean, we've actually had him on before, Tross, talked about how there's a specific area in the game or specific chapter, which is really cool, like one of his favorite moments in games, if not his favorite moment. It's called, the chapter is We Sing, and it's kind of like this game's ashtray maze for anyone who's played Control. It's just kind of like out of nowhere, this really awesome un-Alan Wake-like chapter in the game. I don't want to, give anything away for people who are going to play it, but it is super out of nowhere, super out of left field, and it's a lot of fun. I like that Remedy includes those kind of things in their games. So yeah, overall, really good game. I don't know if it's going to be strong enough to beat some of the other contenders this year, but Remedy and how they improved over the first Alan Wake and the remaster, got to give a lot of credit to them. Really good game. Even if the story does kind of like run around in circles and spots, and I feel like they could have gotten to where they wanted to go sooner. But yeah, a great game overall.
So for the gameplay on that, would you say, because I've only played like an hour of the first game when it came out, and I've played a little bit of Control.
You played too much
would
of
you
the
say
first
that it
one.
plays a lot more like Control. I mean, as far as like controls, I mean, obviously it's not, probably as
Yeah,
frenetic.
I mean, you're not. It's more focused on gunplay. Like you're not as agile. It's more focused on See what they did, like the first Alan Wake's not really going to give you, other than using the flashlight and the gun together, it's not really going to give you a good idea of how this game plays because a lot of it is more puzzly. There is a good amount of gunplay in this, but it's kind of it's not really like Control. I mean, you use guns in both games, but I feel like there's certain like an agility aspect to Control that's not in this game.
Yeah.
So this game, flashlight, gun, but it's kind of like more 50-50 puzzle aspect of it, collecting things, and like I said, Saga Anderson, the FBI agent, putting your case together in this place called the Mind Space. It's kind of a pause menu, but not really a pause menu. And what I mean by that is you go into kind of a menu, but if there's enemies attacking you, you'll still be attacked while you're in the Mind Place. And then Alan Wake's sections are more spatial puzzles. You have to figure out how to use light to manipulate the world. Like, for instance, you get this kind of wand, this little lamp, and you trap light in the lamp, and then by using that light and transferring it to different areas of the world, you can make, say, a subway station that wasn't there then appear to make your way through the world.
Oh, okay.
So the first Alan Wake mainly had you kind of running through areas and using the flashlight and the gun, just kind of collecting and exploring. This game has a lot bigger puzzle component to it. They kind of fleshed out the gameplay a lot more, and it makes sense because Saga Anderson's an FBI agent. Naturally, she would be putting a case together of all the weird shits going on in Bright Falls, so it makes sense to add that into the gameplay. So,
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your question, Riley.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Tim, your turn.
Is this PlayStation specific games or
No.
Anything you've been
Okay.
playing?
Anything you've been playing?
Okay, so Call of Duty came out recently, so yeah, I do play Call of Duty. So I've been picking up on the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, the DLC that it is.
Is it as bad as everybody's making it out to be?
So the thing is, it's not bad. Actually, the movement and everything is great. The game is great, and there's a lot of nostalgia on all the maps, okay? And I agree, though, with the DLC aspect. The difference, though, is, like, the movement is better. It's like, to make the game better, we had to revert back to the past. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of forward momentum in terms of, like, how things have become. It's like they had Modern Warfare 1, the remake, and it was great. It was phenomenal. It was awesome. And then they did MW2, and they made changes that a lot of people weren't happy with. So all they did was revert those changes into MW3 and sell it to people for $70. So is it overpriced? Is it a DLC? I could see why people would say that. I wouldn't necessarily disagree. But is it fun and great? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hell, I think we got more maps in this game's release since we did of all MW2's release, like just because all they did was rebuild the old ones, right?
See what I heard about it was the campaign is too short, and
I haven't even touched it because of that.
And the spawn points in multiplayer are freaking so bad that they had to pull a couple maps off because people were just spawn camping.
That wouldn't surprise. That's a Call of Duty like feature in and of itself, to be honest with you. I heard the campaign was basically Warzone, but like campaign, it sounded really weird and wonky. And I was like, you know what, MW2's was great, but I don't know if I want to taint the reputation I have of it with what this apparently is.
He said taint.
I did. Spider-Man, of course, I've been played through Spider-Man. Spider-Man is great.
I got the head shake from Matt.
I still play Diablo 4, even though it's in a not so great state still. I still get my grind on that game as much as I can to get my stuff. And then I actually just recently, because of Trevor, I started dabbling back into World of Warcraft.
And for reference, everybody doesn't know who's Trevor.
Oh, Trevor is one of my great friends, best friends. He's one of the other people that's in the For All Mankind group.
Thought I was your best friend, Tim.
Yeah, we have this whole thing, and I could talk about it here, but it's probably not good.
Well,
you just never want to see me anymore, and it's fine.
Right. Let's let me boost your ego a second. He didn't request Trevor to be on the show. He requested you to be on the show.
True.
That's
I did.
true.
That's
fair.
That
Fair
is
point.
a very valid point. But yeah, Trev's been playing World of Warcraft for 20 years, ever since it came out, right? And I have tried to get into World of Warcraft. This will now be my 10th time, and I could just never do it. But he always has such a good way to convince me to give it a try. So here we are. That's what I've been playing lately.
All right, Matt, off the head shake. What have you been playing?
I hate you, Tricky. Puns and all. So
That taint no
more.
way to talk to your friend.
See, that one was good. I like that one.
It's all in the delivery.
That's why he has 76 brains to come up with those witty responses.
See, it actually took like some effort to put that together. Tricky just throws out a word and suddenly it's funny.
Because I literally think that's the first time somebody said taint on the show. So
Glad I could be your first.
98 episodes, and first time somebody has said taint. That is such an achievement. Wow.
Tim is
trophy for that.
well, yeah. Tim popped a cherry. So
Everybody gets one.
Wah, wah, wah.
I hate you, Yield.
Tricky's just getting knee deep in the.
I just
Tricky's
felt
getting.
like I see it, and that was not good.
You know what?
Tricky's just rolling up his sleeves and getting knee deep in the filth this week.
I don't know what possessed me to bring three good friends on the show together.
You're a glutton for punishment.
I mean,
and
why do
cigarettes?
Well, obviously, I'm not that much of a glutton because I would always disappear when you and V be on the show tag teaming against me.
The only way we'll tag team you. Anyway.
Good night, everybody. I'm done.
Well played. Damn.
Oh,
Okay, this is already gonna be a long show. So Tim, not Tim, Matt, tell us what you've been playing. Jesus, I'm flustered.
Been playing more Slay the Princess, which is just a phenomenal game. There's so many facets to it to play through. What else? I finally finished Spider-Man 2. That game, phenomenal.
Spoiler cast is
amazing.
coming.
Spoiler cast is coming. And then I actually hooked up the PS3, and I've been going back through some Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, love that game.
I think I actually like it more than 2.
I can agree with that.
2 just added so much minutia that I'm like, this isn't what I wanted to play. The first one just it cuts it down. You carve up a hunt, and you don't have to like throw it on the back of your horse and haul it back to town and risk losing it because you don't have enough cargo space. It's just you carve up a buck, you have the antlers, you have the pelt, and you go back to town and sell it. It's so simplified, and 2 just complicated so much.
I could never get into 2.
The story is phenomenal, but it's just all of the stuff getting into it was like, wow, this is a slog.
Yeah, I think I got to the.
It took me like 2 years to beat the game.
I think I got to like the little first campground, and I was like, I'm done here.
I actually stopped playing it for a while because I was playing it on a launch PS4, and once you got to Saint Denis, the system just was like, I can't do this anymore. You're lucky if you're getting 15 frames a second. So I had actually upgraded on to the PS4 Pro, which made things a lot better, and I was able to finally finish the game.
Didn't they just come out with a remastered or some version of Red Dead?
They did the re-release with absolutely no, it wasn't remastered. It was just like a straight up release back on PlayStation, it was the Switch. And there was no upgrades, no extra things. They didn't even add the Undead Nightmare DLC and priced it like a full price game. I think it was like $50.
Oh yeah, I'm looking on PSN right now. It got re-released for the 4 for $50. Right now it's on sale for $40.
And everybody was bemoaning it because Xbox had its backwards compatibility with FPS boost.
Right.
You just throw the game in there and you got a better experience than if you were just buying the new version now. Seems to be a Rockstar thing.
Speaking of Rockstars, let's talk to somebody that's not a Rockstar. Yield, what have you been playing?
Yeah.
Come on.
Not looking in the right category.
Listen, I had to give you some kind of a dig.
Playing Far, Changing Tides, which the Far series of games is very enjoyable if you like games that aren't narrative driven. They kind of let you interpret the story. I've been playing that, and I've been working on Deep Rock Galactic, working on my platinum.
All right, so let's get into our topics proper here. Our first topic is coming from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale. PlayStation Games Catalog Editions for November 23 have been revealed. your game catalog add-ons are Teardown for the 5, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen for the 4, Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost on the 4, Dead Island Riptide Definitive Edition for the 4, is that supposed to be Super Liminal or Super Primal, Matt? For the 4 and the 5.
Superliminal.
Okay, I thought maybe that was a typo. Eluding Chronicle Rising for the 4 and the 5.
Typos.
I can tell you definitely have a couple in this so far.
He said there ain't no typos here.
No, Tricky, those aren't typos. Those are just Japanese words.
We know how much trouble he has.
Really?
pronouncing those.
Really? Because we're instead of writing Naughty Dog, he wrote Nut Dog. He forgot the Y. So.
You know what I was talking about.
That's just what the kids call them. Oh, we
All right,
love that
all right, getting back to the games here. Eluding Chronicle for the 4 and the 5, Nobunga's Ambition, Tashi for the 4.
Wow.
Nobunaga's Ambition?
Yes.
You didn't say Nobunaga.
What did I say? Did I say
No
something?
bungoos or some crap like that.
You know what? You know what? To be fair, I kind of looked at it and I got like Cowabunga vibes off of it, so I probably did say it wrong.
We love the Ninja Turtles, Tricky, but come on.
Alternate Jake Hunter, DS for the Wicked of Golden Jazz for the 4, and your classic games are Grenada. I don't know.
Grandia?
There you go,
Grandia?
Jetmoto up.
Fucking Christ.
Some of these things. You know what? Go ahead.
Classic games.
go ahead.
Grandma.
Go ahead, Alex. You say them
The
because
other additions to classic gaming catalog atop of Grandia are Jetmoto, Up, Klonoa Fantasy Reverie, or Reverie. Reverie series. Thank
oh,
you.
see, it's not that easy. How is it?
I didn't say Grandma for Grandia. Shut the hell up.
I didn't say Grandma either.
Parappa the Rappa 2.
All right, there you
I
go.
don't know. First of all, I don't know how it took them this long to get Jetmoto and Parappa the Rappa 2 on this service, but there you go.
All right, so Riley and Tim, because I mean, there's really no conversation about the games being added. So you guys are the first ones on the show, and there's been some debate about whether or not
High quality games.
there's been some.
Discount reduction.
Thank you. Holy shit! Somebody else. We've had some debate back and forth about whether or not the quality of games is essential or not essential. Extra and premium are worth the money. 3 of our hosts have all said they're bustling down to essential, if not just canceling their subscription outright, which Matt did. We'll start with Tim first. Tim, one, how do you feel about, and Yield and Alex and Matt, just stay quiet for a second. Let me get through this. How do you feel about either the price raise of the year subscription, or in my words, the reduction in the discount? How do you feel about that one? And do you feel like extra and essential are worth the money?
So I actually had the extra one for the first bit when it came out, right? And I bought it with the understanding like, oh, there's just going to be a ton of good games, especially specifically the classic catalog, right? That's really where I wanted this to go. And I was quite disappointed in the classic catalog. I think I canceled almost after the first month myself. So I only have the essentials ones to play the online stuff, right? So they're raising the price. Is that what you just said?
Well,
They did raise the price.
Okay.
The annual subscriptions are now 33% higher than they were 2 months ago.
Okay, hold on. Let me explain this technically here, okay? For premium for a year, it was $120 until recently. They've raised the yearly price up to $160. So in
premium was the top tier.
Right. So in Matt, Yields, and Alex's opinion, they raised the price of PlayStation Plus premium.
Well,
My
in everybody's opinion except for Tricky. Let's put it that way.
well,
They-
no, because Riley disagreed with me.
No, stop
No, he's
throwing out
just
this.
gonna have to make you feel
Stop
good.
throwing out this argument, Tricky. We'll mince word. But Sony called it a price increase in their blog post. It's what Daryl said when you asked him. What we need to know is, do they feel like paying this new price
Is
worth it?
$160 worth for premium? Is what basically he's asking.
Well, and also
So-
extra because Tim said he had extra, so it was what 100 to 130.
For the year subscription,
So-
yes.
So here's my understanding of PlayStation, this whole new service that they've had for a little bit, right? So this was supposed to, I'm assuming, compete with Microsoft's Game Pass ordeal, right? Like
This-
that's my understanding.
This was
is their
their
direct competition.
this was their
Oh.
answer to what Game Pass was.
What Game Pass was. Okay, so I look at it as the I think if PlayStation had a better back catalog, specifically like the classic games and the PS2 games and stuff like that, I think the price point would be justified. The main reasons I don't think that it's justified, I don't think the back catalog, at least for myself, is worth it. But on top of that, with Game Pass, a lot of times you get their first party titles for free, right? And they don't do that with like the premium subscription with PlayStation, correct?
Sony won't do that. Period. They said they're not
You
really
don't
said
know
it.
You
that
have to
period.
wait a year.
A year-
So for that specific reason, I mean, I don't think it's worth it if we look at it like that. I guess if you take out that aspect of it, right? You say, okay, let's just put it at its own thing. Let's not compare it to something else like that. It's really hard not to say, oh, this thing that's $160 a year, but I get all these games isn't worth it. Does that make sense? Like, okay, yeah, it's $160, $150, but I am getting all. So if you find that these games that are on this list are worth your time, I could see how people could claim that it's worth it, right? But for someone like myself, and because of the competition, I don't see that price point being worth it.
Okay, Riley.
Opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I'm kind of with Tim as far as like that. For me, it's not worth it. But I mean, I could totally make a case without. Well, I might sound like a Sony shill, but I could totally make a case for the amount of games that you're getting. If you could, I mean, you could easily just play what's offered and not buy new games throughout the year. I mean, that's not how it works as gamers. We all understand that. But simple game to dollar value, then yeah. For me, it's just not, because I mean, I've always, when I want those games, I buy them and then I play them, and I don't often, there aren't too many games that I go back and replay. That's just it's just not me. Now, I've never dabbled in the higher tiers. I've always just had the essential, because honestly, I don't always even get around to like the 3 freebies that they give us each month, that one of which I may be interested in. I really just don't, even if it's something that I am really interested in, I don't always get around to playing it. To, you know, it's like, oh, it's stuff's in the catalog, but yeah, so no, I don't think that it's worth it. It's not worth it for me personally, but I could completely see, like, I'm not looking at anybody that gets it and be like, oh, well, you're an idiot. Because like it could be totally valid. Like if I did that and I was like, okay, so 2024 I'm going to go extra or premium, and then that's going to be my gaming budget for the year. I've dropped 100 and 160 bucks, 100 whatever, and then there's nothing, majorly coming out. Maybe I'll pick up one big title that, is a surprise drop, and that's my gaming budget for the year. Then would be a perfectly viable, reasonable way to do it. But just for me, there's not enough. It doesn't make sense for me.
I mean,
that me and my household play.
Yeah, we said on the show, like, it really boils down to the games that are offered. Do they appeal to you? Because if they appeal to you, then it's worth going into the higher tiers. But, like you just said, we get the 3 free games. You may be interested in one of them. So at times, Essential is not even worth it to you, other than maybe the ability to play online or the cloud saving.
Right.
So it really boils down to what games are being offered is to what you determine the value is.
And the other thing I'd like to touch on, I don't really feel that it's necessarily a fair comparison or an accurate comparison to say that the essential and the extra was supposed to be Sony's answer to Game Pass. Game Pass, I don't have Game Pass. I don't currently have a Microsoft console in my house that's hooked up. But Game Pass is a fantastic service. Like, for the money, it's great. They do a great job. Sony And so everybody's like, oh, well, if Microsoft is doing this, and you know, I think all of us here have been in this game for a long time, and we've seen the, oh, well, when one does something, then the other side, they have to do it, or they're going to
They have to
lose.
respond. Yeah.
They have to respond, and they have to do the same thing or better, and they're going to lose. And so the minute that Sony makes any kind of a move, if they changed anything in their service, oh, this is going to go to Game Pass. No, it's not. This is Sony trying to offer more value to appear as competitive. But if you look at any kind of numbers or statistics, there's no way that Sony could stay in business and run Game Pass to the same level that Microsoft does with their first party stuff. It's just, and it's been a while since I've gotten into it, but like the way that it breaks down financially, Sony just can't do it. And and that's fine. They don't have to. And yes, right now of the two services, I would say there's a lot of stuff that I see. Man, if I gamed more on my PC or I've had an Xbox, I would be all over Game Pass because it's a fantastic thing. But it doesn't mean that, I don't know. It kind of goes back to the NES Sega, like, oh my God, my team's got to win. Well, this is just as good as Game Pass. You don't have to have something just as good as Game Pass. Game Pass is fan-fucking-tastic. And I'm totally happy with my PlayStation Essentials. Would it be great if I got free shit? Yes, it would be awesome. Because who doesn't like free shit? I don't want free shit at the expense of not having a Sony first party system in the future. And you know, it doesn't have to be. It's being able to offer different things is okay. And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of gamers don't understand that, of all ages. And it's like, oh, well, if they don't have Game Pass, then it's all, you know, it's not everything is a win or lose. It's a win or lose when we don't have competition, then we lose.
Yes.
The gamers. The gamers lose.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, I understand it. Like I want to be like, well, yeah, Sony. I wish Sony had some sort of killer app that I could be like, haha, fuck you, Xbox. Yeah, this is whatever. But at the end of the day, I just want to play good games, and I want as many people making good games as possible. And I don't like this little nitpicky stuff. It really goes back to being, you know, 8 years old. Of, well, Sonic is better than Mario.
Well,
well, one argument that I will make counter to what Riley said is that Sony has to be conscious of how much they're charging for PlayStation Plus in relation to Game Pass. Because
Absolutely.
if it gets close or if it gets on par, then I think it's fair for people, for PlayStation owners to say, well, you know, yes, like Microsoft has a lot more money than Sony does at their disposal. But if you try to put them on the same price tier, you're obviously going to get roasted because people will be like, well, why am I paying the same thing when Microsoft is giving people that much? So when they get on par with each other is when Sony's really going to be under fire, charging as much for Game Pass at PlayStation Plus as a Game Pass is charged.
And
Absolutely.
I didn't say this but for the last 2 weeks, Xbox app has downloaded on my Samsung TV that I can just hook up my DualSense to my TV and be able to play Xbox games on my TV with no console. And essentially all I would have to do is just purchase Game Pass, and I have access to everything on Game Pass. So, I mean, we've gone back and forth about, you know, PlayStation versus Xbox here. Microsoft is obviously moving to a no console future. They'd rather not sell a physical console and just allow you access to play their games. We've heard rumors that they're trying to get Game Pass on the PlayStation. They're trying to get it on the Switch. They've got it on the TVs already. They got it on the PCs. So
Got it on the Quest.
So I mean, essentially, if I bought Game Pass right now, I could be playing Xbox's library. So. All right, moving on to our next topic here. For third time, we're going to talk about this. Warner Brothers has confirmed the price and date for the Mortal Kombat 1's controversial seasonal fatality bundle. This is coming from IGN, written by Kat Bailey. The recently introduced holiday fatality bundle for Mortal Kombat 1 has undergone controversy when they introduced his Halloween-themed fatality for $10. Last week, we reported that people that purchased that bundle were going to get 2 free fatalities. while the rumor is that anybody who had previously purchased it, we're going to have to pay $30 for all 3 of them. This is an update to that. Now, NetherRealm has introduced the official bundle, which can be bought for 1,200 dragon crystals. That said, the cheapest bundle of the crystals you could buy is 1,250, which retails for $9.99. So basically, you can get all 3 fatalities for $10, but when you pay that $10, you're going to have an extra 50 dragon crystals left over. The bundle will give you access to the Halloween, Thanksgiving, and holiday-themed fatalities upon release. It's also noted that this bundle is more expensive than the recently released DLC character Omni-Man, which is sold for approximately $8, who also comes with 2 unique fatalities of their own. So now the controversy has gone to, okay, you're paying $10 for 3 fatalities, but for $8, you're going to get a character and 2 fatalities with him. I don't think that argument really holds water because those two fatalities are linked to him. It's not being able to be used by every single character, so you can't really make that argument. But the point is out there that you pay $10, you get 3 fatalities that you may or may not use, and for $8, you can get a character, a DLC character. So let's start with you, Alex, first, because I'm going to go around the room real quick with this. Did Warner Brothers save themselves with this by giving you the 3 for the $10 after they initially tried to sell each one for $10?
I mean, I guess what was a data mine that it was going to be $10 each for the fatalities.
Yes, that was what we reported.
Much.
Yeah, that's what we reported last week.
Which again, it was, it is optional, so you don't have to buy them. But I think the only thing I have to say, because I think I've talked about this ad nauseum, is that it's dangerous when they're now breaking away. They selling us extra characters. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, WBE does that with WBE 2K series. They add extra wrestlers. And that's. I feel like the extra wrestlers and adding that many animations and the fighters and stuff. That warrants maybe an extra price. But now they're breaking away fatalities. It's fun to have that seasonal flair, but. For all the complaints we've had about them selling, gradually, what you used to pay for is an entire game. Now it's kind of chipping away where you're having to pay more and more as more stuff broken off. If they're breaking off fatalities and selling those, where does it end? So, again, they're holiday fatalities. They're not tied to any specific character, but I think that the negative backlash definitely influenced their decision to sell them for $10. They're kind of like, okay, well. We'll sell these at a lower price and maybe gain back some goodwill. And maybe, the argument is, what do you want to sell? Fewer things for more money or more things for less money? How does that profitability work out? But I think they saved themselves a little bit, but I think they also made people wary of their business tactics with this, where people were like, okay, we got our eye on you, NetherRealm. And maybe it wasn't even NetherRealm. I think it was Warner Brothers who was specifically cited in the articles as wanting to charge for this. So it could have come from Warner Brothers, and NetherRealm really didn't have any choice in it. So, yeah.
Yield, your thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts.
Fair enough. Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, you have to remember, we've been talking about this a lot.
No, I get it, but like,
and there was no point to talk about it again. But
we reported that the first one was $10, which was the controversy. Then it was the next time we reported on it was saying, oh well, everybody that bought it was going to get 2 free ones in response, but anybody who hadn't bought it already are still going to pay full price for it. Now it's out. It's not from a data miner. This is confirmed that you're going to get all 3 for $10, which, I mean, obviously sounds like a response to the outcry. So I wanted to confirm with that. So I didn't necessarily want to talk about it again, but I did want to give a finality and the conclusion to it.
I mean, I think it's fair, not to jump out of line here, but
No, go ahead.
I think it's fair to bring it up again. Simply the fact that they kind of pulled this backpedal, this pivot maneuver. So I think it's fair to bring it up to be like, well, to get the host's reaction of like, okay, so are we like, okay, this is, good job, all forgiven, or is this some,
PR move?
Come on, guys, this is bullshit. Like, yeah, like, all right, like, I think that's fair. I mean, I understand. I know Yield does not like to rehash stuff over and over again, and Lord knows I don't like to defend Tricky, but I feel that this is a valid thing to bring it back up. I mean, no, we don't need to take a half an hour on it. But no, I think it's totally fine, and I also think that it's. I mean, I don't know. Warner Brothers is just kind of
And
so
and to be fair, I think
it's better than it's better than what you were doing, but why are you guys doing this shit at all? Like, stop. I know you're really after EA's title of most hated company, but damn, guys, come on.
all right. We'll pivot to you, Tim.
I agree with Alex that it's a very dangerous road when we start going from a paid DLC character to a paid DLC finisher move, right? Like that's like because then what happens? You're gonna get a paid DLC hat for Kung Lao. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That might already be in the game.
It
so
is.
I think in terms of I think in terms of did they save themselves from the original thing that could have been. I mean, I guess if you want to look at it, yeah, for sure they did. Woo, great. We're getting this. You guys are going to get this for 33% of what you thought it was going to be. You know, they're going to spin it like that. But like, I feel like something like a fatality in general. If I'm a game developer and I want my people to play the game and you want to make these new fatalities come around, why not put that in the game as something you have to earn to unlock, but make it, difficult. It's a seasonal thing. Get people to play the game rather than just buy it and be done. That's the route I feel like someone would want to go just to keep your character retention, but your player retention. But
see, okay. Before I let Matt go on this, my feeling with the fatalities is just simply this: like, okay, you're selling a holiday fatality. Okay, great, but after you've seen a fatality like 10 times,
100%,
it's the novelty of it's worn off.
Yep.
So like, I get that they're trying to make money. I get they're trying to, oh, this is the Halloween one. This is a Thanksgiving one. Oh, this is going to be a Christmas one. That's cool. But after you've seen it several times, it's like, okay. Like, even now when I'm playing the game, like, I've seen the fatalities. I'm like, okay, do I really want to do the fatality or I'm just going to uppercut them?
Right. It becomes almost like a glorified cosmetic. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But, yeah, it's a weird... It travels kind of a weird area that it's cosmetic. Like let's be real. It has no effect on the gameplay.
Right.
It's cosmetic, but the fatalities in Mortal Kombat is like jumping in Mario. It's like it's such an integral part that it really feels kind of gross to charge for them like that. That's just ugh.
I know that Tricky, when we had Daryl on recently, Tricky and Daryl were like, well, it's optional, which is true. You don't have to buy it. And I made the point that, it'd be just nice. They could easily just give these away as like, hey, thanks for playing. And, Tricky and Daryl are like, well, they don't necessarily have to do that. But my thing is goodwill goes a long way, where if I'm a happy customer, I'll spend more money. So if you can make your more money off your game and the characters you're selling, if you can give people a free downloadable finisher to make people happy and keep them interested in your game and supporting you, that goes a long way.
I don't know who brought it up, and again, I'm going to go to you, Matt, in a second, I promise. I don't know who brought it up, but somebody also made the point that if they would have sold these fatalities for, say, 99 cents or $2, you're going to sell a hell of a lot more than them because at the end of the day, somebody's going to go, okay, I'm never using this fatality again, but I only spent $2 on it.
Correct.
All right, so...
Absolutely.
Matt, the floor is yours. I think you're actually the one that brought up that point.
I wasn't the only one that brought up that point. The week that Daryl was on, y'all kind of made that comment as well, and it's the things that people ring true with purchasing power. And long ago, these were called microtransactions. These are now macro transactions that we're paying a fifth of the price of the game, a seventh of the price of the game.
Mm-hmm.
To get something that lasts all of 30 seconds. So, I liken this back to Capcom, who during the last 2 Monster Hunter games, we'd get completely new monsters for free. We didn't have to pay anything for it. And as a result, it gave us dozens of hours of new gameplay for free. Some might argue, well, maybe why didn't they have it in the base game? Because they do have to ship a product. And adding something like an extra monster later on for free doesn't hurt as much as somebody going, oh, well, you can fight this monster, but you're going to have to pay $5 to do it. So That's all I'm saying on it is to reiterate. Yeah, I have no problem with microtransactions and companies trying to fund their continuing development and support of a game. Just make it realistic. And $10 for a fatality is not realistic, let alone turning back and saying, oh, well, now you're going to get all three for $10. That's still not a price worth it for me personally.
All right. Before we move on to the next topic, just Tim and Riley, this question is for you. Do you guys feel like the DLC, like this stuff, is the new answer to the online pass of that they did with the PS3 games? So you didn't sell it back to GameStop when you bought a used game. You had to buy the online pass to be able to play the game. You guys remember that?
I remember that. That was like short lived, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
inside of the game case. And I remember that. So you're what the question is, what that is the way they're doing like this DLC?
Is it that way to recoup the money? Because the conversation back then when they were selling, when you went to GameStop and you bought a used game, you had to like buy I don't know if it was an online pass or something like that. I don't remember the exact phrase of it, but they game companies weren't making any money off that resale off of GameStop. So I feel like my opinion, DLC is their answer to that, saying, okay, listen, you may got a used game, but we're going to try to get some money out of you by selling some extra shit to you.
Yeah, but Tricky, this includes new and used games. This is everybody.
Well,
it's not just used games.
Yes. I mean, backhanded, yes, but I mean, now it's not as obvious like saying, hey, we're trying to make money off the resale market. That's my opinion.
So I'm going to say no. And here's going to be my reason as to why. I feel like with the way digital has come around and digital is becoming such a big deal, that if they were truly still worried about or trying to find an answer to what was where digital wasn't as big as a thing, these, which to Matt's point, microtransactions wouldn't become macro transactions anymore, right? If that was the case, as they sell more digital copies of their games, you would figure that the microtransactions would come down if that's what they were worried about. But because I mean, myself, I've pretty much become unless it's a collector's edition, I'm a pretty much all digital person. I buy everything digitally. And I mean, I'm not saying it's taking over the world, but I'm going to assume that number has risen pretty high in the past generation, that those sales, since there is no here, let me sell my used digital copy of this game, it wouldn't make sense in my mind that these are to combat something that is decreasing now.
All right. Before I go to Riley, I just want to make a counterpoint to you, Tim, because we've had conversations on the show about why a digital game is not cheaper than a physical game, because there's no shipping, there's no packaging, there's no marketing.
Yep.
I would say that the reason why the price is not lower is because they're making more of a profit for the game, so they don't have to worry about that stuff. In the long term, they're making more profit off the game. That's why they're the same price. So therefore, they shouldn't have to sell us so much DLC. That's just my point. Riley, we'll go to you. Question: do you feel like DLC is replacing the online pass?
I don't really feel like it's replacing. I feel that it's just part of the constant, as developing budgets balloon. I think it's just a matter of let's get as much money out of people as we can. And like they definitely tried that with the online pass thing, because hey, this is money that's being left on the table that we're not getting a taste of. And so I feel like this is just, oh well, hey, if we can sell it, then let's squeeze out every last bit of money that we can. And I mean, I understand that they're in business to make money, but you're always going to have companies that do it well and companies that do it terribly. And it's going to be on a spectrum. And like, obviously we would hope that most companies handle things like old school CD Projekt Red with The Witcher, and treat the consumer the way that that we would want to be treated, and not like EA and now WB trying to nickel and dime. So I think, I mean, I could make a case for it, but I don't think it's a one-to-one correlation of, oh, we don't have the online pass now, so let's roll out the DLC. I think people are like, hey, these are more transactions that we can get people to spend money on, and further either further development or just further line our pockets. I don't think it's a one-to-one replacement.
All right. All right, moving on. Oh, I'm sorry. Tim, you want to say something?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And it kind of trickles into this topic, very, very small. Do you think game developers care more about getting these dollars like within this window of the time frame of the game launch and getting this all, or do you think they care more about keeping the player or having the player return to the game later on down the road?
I think they're more worried about.
I'm asking this.
I think they're more worried about getting the money because, at least in my mind, obviously a developer cares about a project that they've been working years on to put out. They want people to play their game, but I think once that game ships, unless they have proper DLC, like a storyline DLC or something like that, once that game ships, their focus has now gone on to the next game, and they let the publisher worry about making money off the game rather than where the developer's mind is like, we got to move on to the next thing, where the publisher's going, okay, let's try to make as much money as possible. See, even with this DLC for Mortal Kombat, I don't think this was a NetherRealm thing. I think this was a Warner Brothers thing.
That's a good point. That's a great point, actually. Yeah. I'd agree.
All right. Next topic we have, I know there's going to be some groans on this, but I'm actually happy about this. Coming from IGN and written by George Yang, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered has been confirmed for January of 24. Shortly after the leak of its existence, Naughty Dog revealed the existence of The Last of Us Remastered, which will be released on the PS5 in January 19th of 24. For those who own the game, you can pay $10 to upgrade to the new edition, where you will also be able to upload your save files. It should be noted that if you have a PS4 disc version and a PS5 digital console, again, PS4 physical, PlayStation 5 digital, you will not be eligible for the upgrade. And the new remastered edition will include graphical enhancements, DualSense integration, lost levels with dev commentary, guitar-free play mode, and a roguelike mode called No Return. So, I know there's going to be groans because this is just, this was a last generation game that's being remastered for the 5. I'm excited for this because I want to know what those lost levels are. I'm really hyped to play this. Yield.
Go ahead and finish.
I heard you laughing already.
Yeah.
And I really want to play No Return, see what that's like. Because obviously you're going to be able to play with other characters than Joel, Ellie, and Abby. So, and it's only going to cost me $10 to upgrade. It's a new platinum for me to get. All right, Yield, you started laughing, so I'm going to give you the floor first. I know your opinion already, but for those who aren't in our Facebook group, tell us how you feel.
I just think that's just a great way of Sony to direct one of their best studios in remaking a game instead of making a new one. Way to go. Way to spend all that time on you're out the gate with the PlayStation 5 with a remake of Last of Us 2.
Is this officially their first five game?
Yes.
No. Well, okay.
Yes.
No, because the Last of Us Part 1 was their first 5 game.
Oh, wow. Okay. 2 remakes. Way to go, Naughty Dog. Knocking it out of the park. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's too soon. Wait until the end of the 5. Wait until the 6. It's too soon.
Well, I mean, to be fair, and I'm not trying to defend Naughty Dog here.
Yes, you are. You're a Sony pony.
I am a Sony pony, but, I mean, to be fair, The Last of Us Part 1 was remastered from the 3 to the 4 and then 4 to the 5. So they've done it every console generation. So I get what you're saying. Wait till the 6.
That makes it even better.
I get what you're saying. Wait till the 6, but this has been their track record. They've upgraded the Last of Us games. And technically, they upgraded the Uncharted games as well from the 3 to the 4 as well. So
yeah, so way to go. Get bought by Sony, and all you do is remakes of your back catalog.
All right, Alex, the floor is yours. I'm going to run to the little boy's room. I'll be right back.
For me, it's nice that it's a $10 upgrade. For anyone who purchased it on the PS4. Well, if unless you have of course, a disc copy and then have a digital PS5. But for me, it's too soon. There's no point in this coming out as a remaster. I know they did it with The Last of Us on the PS4, but come on, they are putting out way too many versions of The Last of Us, and it's not a third game. It's just remasters and remakes. So if they want to do this down the road, that's great. I am dying for an HD, remake from the ground up of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And I wish actually Sony made that game because we would have gotten it by now. But for me, it's just way too soon for this to come out. And honestly, I don't really, after playing the game and being mentally exhausted from playing that game, I don't ever want to play it again. So even if it was down the road, I still wouldn't buy it and play it or pay the $10 and play it. But it's just way too soon for a remaster like this to come out. Riley, what do you think, sir?
So I have a lot of big feelings about this, for a lot of reasons. I have played The Last of Us, Last of Us 2. Kind of with you, Alex. I don't ever really want to play them again. I thought they were fantastic. I enjoyed the first one more than the second one. But like my oldest son is a massive fan, and he's played them multiple times. And so I was talking with him when the PS5 remaster came out for the first one, and we had this discussion. I'm just like, why? I was very much feeling about it the same way that Yield does. Is that this is stupid? Let's move on to something else. And I mean, my son pointed out to me that, he's like, well, with all the, and again, he's a more of a fan of the game than I am. But he was like, oh, well, with all the upgraded hardware and stuff, and they can do this and they can do that. I'm like, okay, I understand. I like, he kind of made a case, and I'm like, all right, that does kind of make sense. And I can see now why they're doing it again for the second one. So like, I understand like the why that they're doing it, and I don't feel that it's just whatever. I have my own feelings that I wish Naughty Dog would move on, but it's an entirely different thing. I am not nearly as much as in love with The Last of Us as Naughty Dog is. And so it's just, I would like to see them move on to something else. Like, are they ever going to do anything new? It's really disappointing. I understand why they're doing it. I don't feel that it's unnecessary. It's not the move that I would make. I feel that it's unnecessary from a point of, would you guys stop just like jerking off to your own game?
But it feels so good though.
I'm saying, like, I understand it, and also I will say, because I read when I was reading through the topic, I had kind of just tried to pretend this wasn't a thing and going to happen, and then I was reading through the topics, and so I was reading about it, and I was like, well, honestly, the way that they're handling it, as far as with the $10 upgrade and all the new stuff that they're bringing, and it's not just the engine overhaul, which is impressive, and I could go on a whole thing about that. And this is like, I don't want either of these games to exist. I mean, as far as the remasters. So I said I've got a lot of feelings going on, because this is not my thing. I totally would like something else, something new, from Naughty Dog, because they're a fantastic developer. But I understand, like I said, I understand like the why. Oh, we've got the new hardware. Let's try it. But it's like, dude, at what point are you going to stop? You're becoming, you're a meme of yourself. Like, can it run Doom? I don't like. Is that their goal, is to like have it playable on as many or on more platforms than Skyrim? Saber Rider. Okay. Buddy, I've got chat pulled up, and I want to say this. I am no fan of Mr. Druckmann, and I am a diehard Amy Hennig fan. And I've tried to keep that out of this, because as much as I feel like Neil Druckmann needs to be surgically removed from his own ass.
Wow.
He ain't wrong.
The Last of Us was a fantastic game. I loved it. It was an experience. Yeah, dude, you're a genius. You're not as much of a genius as you think you are. And I feel like there was some shady shit going on. But your game's good. I'd like to play other things. Skyrim it's not as good as Skyrim. I don't constantly want to go back and restart The Last of Us like I have Skyrim multiple times. I mean, I understand I'm comparing apples to oranges, but I have, I don't want to play The Last of Us on my fucking smart refrigerator.
I do.
I think it's kind of cool that I could play
Kind of neat.
Skyrim, but I mean, it's just like, just stop, dude. He is out of fucking control, and somebody needs to rein him in. It's crazy. He's just sitting in his corner office, jerking off, going, "Oh, let's put The Last of Us on something else. More Last of Us." It's like, dude, the second one wasn't even as good as you thought it was. It was good, but it wasn't that good.
Uh-oh.
Chill out.
Uh-oh.
Let's move on to something else.
You're setting Tim off over there. Tim, floor's yours.
So, The Last of Us is one of my favorite franchises. It's actually the primary reason I have owned like a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 5 was because of that series, right? So I do have a lot of heart for that game. So this is probably going to be a bit more biased than what people might want. But I'm excited for it, kind of for the same reasons Tricky is, especially for the $10 upgrade, right? Like that's crazy. So that's awesome for those. And for those people who haven't got to experience what is probably one of Naughty Dog's biggest franchises that they have, right? Like this is, and it's going to have the updated engine. We're going to get more stuff with it, more DLC content for it. Like I'm excited to play through it again. I mean, the roller coaster of emotions that I had playing the second one, I've gone back and forth several times. Was the first one better than the second one? Yada yada yada. I think truly the second one is a masterpiece of a game as much as the first one is. And I know it's very controversial. I know a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions on this game series. But I think what they did with the second was phenomenal. Now, as far as, the remaster itself, should they do it, should they not do it? I don't know the answer to this question, but how much of their studio do we think that they have developing this, right? So who's to say that they don't have a good section of the studio working on something different, and they have this other small section to do this, give this update, that way they can get more money because people are going to buy it. And they're still, I'm still waiting for Factions. Personally, that is still the thing I'm waiting for them to release already because Factions 1 was amazing in the first game, and I know they're working on it. We did. It was one of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had was in Factions. So I'm waiting.
I bought a second copy of The Last of Us so that we could play Factions together.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Factions to come out. And I don't know. Look, I don't know the studio. I'm not inside the studio. I don't know what kind of team they have working on a remake. I can't be a lot, I would assume, because the core mechanics and everything of the game are still there, right? This isn't like a built from the ground up remake like Resident Evil 2 was for the first time when they did the RE2 remake. But it's more of like that HD overhaul with some extra stuff. So I'm excited for it because I will play it again. I will go through that emotional roller coaster again. And I'll get to see all the extra little goodies that we have with it.
And I would like to say too, like and because I don't want to glaze over this as much as I can rant and bitch and moan about Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann and the franchise. They were absolutely fantastic. So I don't want to glaze over too quick. I think the way that they're doing this with the $10 upgrade and from just even the list in the notes, of the stuff that they're adding, I think it's fantastic. I think this should be laid out as the framework of, okay, if you're considering updating your game and re-releasing it on the hardware that's so much better, because that seems to be the thing, do it like this, because I think this is absolutely fantastic. I think this should set the standard for remakes, whatever, going forward. By the same breath, I'm so over it, and whatever, but like I don't want to, because like I said, I can bitch and moan and rant about Naughty Dog and the whole thing. I can go on a tangent, and I'm not going to, because I don't want to gloss over the fact that I think they're doing a lot of things right here. And it's like I tried to not get hung up on the oh God, not again.
You think
You know,
they're doing good things, but you just think it's unnecessary.
I absolutely they're doing fantastic things. Like I think that they've learned a lot. I think the list of stuff that they're adding with this one compared to their other remakes, this is absolutely the way. I think it's absolutely worth it. It's not for me. I don't know if I'll pick it up. The other stuff I made, it was so, like Cinch said, it was so emotional. I don't want to go. I don't want to put myself through that again. Um,
All right.
but it was fantastic, and I think they're doing a lot of things right. I was all over the Ghost of Tsushima update for the extra $10, and you're right, Saber, the Ghost of Tsushima. I thought it was great. Honestly, now looking back, I think that for the $10 upgrade, I wish they would have added some more stuff, and beyond just the haptic stuff. I love Ghost of Tsushima. I don't regret doing that upgrade, but I think Naughty Dog is setting the standard here, how game companies should handle their remakes going forward. I just wish that Naughty Dog would at least acknowledge that they're doing something else, and that they aren't just stuck on this is all that we do now.
Well, they did. I mean, the rumor is that they're either making The Last of Us 3 or they're doing a new IP. We know they're not working on Uncharted.
Right.
So,
And I'm fine with that. I mean, Uncharted is one of my favorite franchises ever. But, I'm okay with that. Good things come to an end. I've had a nice, healthy arc. But I would just, I would like to see something new. Now, if they come out with Last of Us 3 and they correct some of what I feel were some of the missteps and maybe not be quite as ham-handed with what they want to do and not as patting themselves on the back and knock it out of the park, I am all for that. I am here day one for Last of Us 3, but I really would just like to see something new. Look what they did. We went from Jak and Daxter, which I never played, but I appreciate it as a solid thing, and then to Uncharted. Like, that was a massive jump. I mean, obviously they know for Crash and stuff, and then from Uncharted to The Last of Us, which, I mean, very different in tone, but massively production value, big jump, fantastic. I can't say enough about it. I want to see what their next thing is. I'm ready for the next jump.
all right.
They can keep doing that, whatever. But I'm just like Elder Scrolls fans. We're ready for Elder Scrolls 6. We want to see what that next jump is.
All right. Just in the interest of time, we got to move on real quick. But Matt, do you have anything you want to say about this before we move on?
No, I don't think I have anything to add that wasn't already said.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we would normally go to our community questions, but we're going to skip that because we are running a little long, and we do have 2 topics for the week.
Yeah, I made that call. For anyone who wants to get angry, I made that call because it's Thanksgiving week, and I'm editor, and I need to get this
No.
thing going, so
I agree. Our shows are getting way too long.
we'll do community questions. We'll answer anything that was asked next week as part of the show. But got
All right.
relatives coming in, and I need to get this show done in one day. So
Yeah.
Plus, he said all your questions sucked.
All right.
He told me that off air. Okay.
All right. So we're not going to torture Joe this week. We're never going to do the soundbite, although I kind of wanted to do it because of Tim.
no, because I'll just take it out.
Tim, I'll play it after the show.
Okay.
Do it in your Patreon.
It's the Lion King.
All right. So our first topic of the week is coming from Push Square, written by Kale Adam. Sony says the PlayStation Portal wasn't designed to make a profit. Speaking to a Japanese outlet, Senior Vice President of Platform Experience, and then Matt made a quote, says, "What the fuck is this title?" Hideki Nishino commented on the PlayStation Portal's use case. Evidently, it wasn't designed with profit in mind. And he's quoted as saying, "Rather than profitability, we want to increase the amount of time we could play with the PS5. If you could play anywhere, I think some people will definitely spend more time playing games." Okay, so Tim, I know pre-show you said you kind of wanted to talk about this. I'm just going to make the comment that says you can't play anywhere because it doesn't have a browser. So most places that have public Wi-Fi where you have to log in, you cannot get on. So you have to do it for mobile hotspot. And not every place has Wi-Fi, so you can't play it everywhere. So that's bullshit comment. But Tim, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so here's how I feel about the PlayStation Portal and that particular statement, right? So you could play you can use your PlayStation Portal as long as your PlayStation 5 is in rest mode. You can use this anywhere, right? But to your point, there's no browser. So you're still limited in some aspects of things, right? But even then, I would still challenge the playability in terms of anywhere, even if you can connect, right? I've seen some videos, seen some posts, and latency, I've messed with a lot of cloud gaming, a ton of cloud gaming across the board between Stadia, xCloud, all of it. And latency is something I feel like that gets overlooked when it comes to these products too much. And I feel like the profitability aspect of what they're talking about is probably true because their controller's what, $70? So you have a $130 essentially a tablet attached to it. So I'm sure they're not making a ton of money. But in terms of playing it anywhere, the device was 100% built to play at your house on your network. You can take it everywhere, other places, if you have a solid connection. And I've watched tons of videos on this, and they say it is a playable experience. So I guess the question is, do you guys think $200 is worth a playable experience when you're not at your house?
Well, I already know Matt, Alex, and you'll answer, but I'll let them answer. Alex, quick.
I don't. If you're not releasing something for profitability, I don't understand why you're releasing it. Yeah, people may play more at their house when someone else is watching TV and they can play on the portal, whatever they're playing on the PS5, but it doesn't necessarily equate to them spending more money unless you're looking at it from the argument of, well, people will play more, so they'll, with more time, they'll get through games faster and then they'll want to spend more money. But still, I don't understand why you would release something that's not meant to be profitable. All people have to do is to get people to play more on the PlayStation 5, just work on your games. You don't have to release something like the Portal. I don't understand the argument. I think it's ridiculous.
All right, Yield.
Another Sony gimmick that will be quickly forgotten.
All right, and Matt.
So I'm a couple lines of the subject. First and foremost, $200, way too much for me personally. Obviously, the damn thing sold out in 2 days across the U.S. Like people can't find it.
Oh, Matt. Matt, let me cut you off for 1 second. Just for context, somebody can go out and buy a backbone for $100 and use their phone that they've already made the purchase, and basically have the same functionality.
Yeah, but there's a couple things there. You're not getting the haptic feedback that I advertise. You're not getting the adaptive triggers. Listen, the thing was built for a premium experience in your house, and if you have a decent Wi-Fi connection, you're set up. But here's what I'll say to that. I have both programmed xCloud and PS5 Remote Play onto my Steam Deck. And I could be one floor up on the other side of the house, and I don't get good connection, even though I've got a strong router. I've got 5E. And it's an annoyance because it takes away the ability to move around, which is your purpose. The only place you could be is near your router or within, 100 feet of your router without obstructions of floors. It takes away the portability of the device. Now, the benefit is you're not depending on outward internet. You're depending on your internal network. So that provides a decent experience. But now you start talking about taking that thing out in the wild, and depending on whatever closed network you can access out there, as you mentioned that there's no browser, that you can hook it up to a public Wi-Fi. You have to do something like off of your phone. And 1080p video is going to eat up a lot of bandwidth on a game system as you're putting inputs back and forth.
Is it 1080p? I thought it was 4K. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, it's a 1080p screen.
Okay.
So now this goes back to the conversation we had last week about the company that Sony bought to improve their streaming delivery services, to hopefully be more efficient with the data that's going back and forth. So hopefully something good comes out of that. The issue here is the price for a product that's $200 that is most effective in your own home, which probably most people, i.e. Daryl, are going to be playing it there. However, and I say it with this, they're also making you have to buy proprietary headsets if you want to use, if you want to not have your sound blasting over whatever you're doing. On top of that, Sony's track record for supporting peripherals, especially peripherals at this price, is not great. and I'm worried that people are going to buy a $200 paperweight. That's what it's going to be in 2 years. It's not going to get the software updates it needs. It's not going to get the direct to console streaming that everybody hopes there is going to be available. And I frankly think that this thing should have been $150. I think that $50 would have gone a long way. If they're going to lose out on profitability on the device just to get people to play, which was Xbox's strategy with the xCloud long ago. We know that that system wasn't necessarily profitable for them, and they just raised their price to help adjust for that. But if profitability on the portal was not a thing for them, they should have knocked the extra 50 off. But we saw what they did worldwide with the PlayStation 5 price, and they raising that in other markets. So I don't trust Sony with their pricing whatsoever.
All right, Riley.
I mean, yeah, I have not really looked a lot at the portal because I'm just like, oh, that's not something that I need. It's just I don't, if I'm not at home on my couch, I really like I had a Vita, I had a PSP, and I'm just like, yeah, I just did not use them nearly. I did not use them enough to justify the price that I paid. I mean, the whole says that the portal wasn't designed to make a profit. Okay, I mean, I understand, and they made the PSP Go. That clearly wasn't designed to make a profit either, but they released it anyways. But yeah,
All right.
I'm pulling a yield. Yeah.
As much as a Sony pony I'm not finding myself buying this thing anytime soon. I know Tross it bought one, and we've been going back and forth a couple days. He's really been convinced he bought one. He has one. I'm gonna have to talk to him to get his comments and possibly bring it on the show. But right now, I don't see a reason for this, because if you got to jump through this many hoops to do it outside your home, then to me it's not worth it. And not that like I'm trying to brag or anything, but I got enough PS5s in my house that if the Goddess or Sweet Mama D wanted to watch something on the TV, I could simply just go into another room and play PlayStation 5. I don't need to be able to, unless I want to sit on the couch next to the Goddess while she's watching the Desperate Housewives or whatever. But at that point, like, if I'm playing a game, I'm not watching Desperate Housewives with her, so I don't need to be sitting next to her.
Well, and you got to make sure when you talk to people who own one, especially close friends, right? Make sure the honeymoon phase of just buying a new device is over, right? Because whenever you buy something new, you're always going to want to be like, yeah, this is the best thing because I just bought this, so I have to defend this because I bought it and it's great. So make sure you give it some time, give it a month, let that honeymoon phase of me just buying something fancy and shiny get over before you really get, because I truly believe you will not get someone's real opinion on the device until that phase is over.
I agree.
Right, and I'll say too, because I've known Tim for a long time, and Tim jumps on the new shinies
all the time.
And so there's been a lot of stuff where I'm just like, Tim, that's ridiculous. And then when he like walks me through, oh, this and that, I'm like, okay, it's not as ridiculous as I thought, but often then when I go back, 6 months, a year later, hey Tim, oh yeah, I don't even have that, or it's in my closet somewhere.
You literally got a free PSVR from me because I'm just like, I just don't use it anymore.
Yeah,
Here you go.
Yeah. I love my PSVR, but the thing is though, had it not been for Tim's shiny addiction, I was just like, oh, I was very much in Yield's camp of, oh, this is dumb, and then
this is just a gimmick.
Like, okay, this is okay. This isn't. I mean, I'm glad I didn't spend the full price on it. I got it.
Take advantage of those friends, everybody.
Yeah.
You got to get Yield over to try the PSVR.
I have.
He has.
Oh, have you?
He has.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He even smiled once. It was insane.
Wow, Yield smiled? All right, moving on to our last topic, which is going to be a conversation piece, I believe. But we're going to try to keep it to a minimum. This is coming from Forbes and written by Paul Tassi. GTA 6 is publisher on the value of games in dollar per hour measurement. Now, there's a lot of notes here, so I'm going to try to go through them as quick as possible. Strauss Zelnick, CEO of Take-Two Interactive, in comments made towards investors indicated his views on what his philosophy is for games pricing. Quote, in terms of pricing for any entertainment property, basically the algorithm is the value of the expected entertainment usage, which is to say per hour value times the number of expected hours plus the terminal value that's perceived in the customer. What the hell's comments is this? He's all right. I'm just gonna sum up here. He's basically saying games to be priced on how many hours it took to, or how long it took to develop it compared to how long of the game it is. So he doesn't say. He's basically making the point that $70 should not be the standard. The game should be based on how long it took to develop, also how much time you are actually playing the game. There's quotes here, but just in the interest of time, I'm just summing it up. All right, so Alex, we'll go to you first. Should games be based on how long it took to develop it compared to how long you're actually playing and interacted with the game?
Well, I mean, music and movies don't do this. Like, people may listen to a certain CD like 1,000 times over and may listen to another one, a few times because of one song. And movies, how many times are they going to watch a movie? Do you have to, change the value of the thing because of that? I get that certain games will give you more replay value than others, but that's the way it's always been. There is a standard retail price for games because otherwise you get people charging outlandish prices for, like, how much would they charge for an Assassin's Creed game? I always use Origins as an example, but there are certain parts of Origins where it's like there's like one thing to do in a region. So with all the padding people may put in a game, should the price be different because of that? Gameplay you don't actually want to do that's very boring and ho-hum, but they say, well, it's adds 20 more hours because you got to do a bunch of fetch quests. That's another $20-$30. Like, no, there should be a manufacturer suggested retail price for a game, and if you're spending too much time and money on a game, maybe you should reel that in, Strauss Zelnick. Maybe you shouldn't spend 18 years developing the next GTA. Maybe you should cut down the focus of that GTA. I've said it before. People really need to reel in the cost of making games. They need to be more careful and judicious about how they're spending money. And if you're going to say that, well, we should be able to charge based on how much time people are having with the game, well, you're not really going to know that until the game's out in the wild and people are playing it. You can't just say, well, we've decided independently this game you can play for 80 hours and get 80 hours of enjoyment, so we're going to charge you twice as much. No, there needs to be a suggested price for games. It needs to be that for, I know that there's different prices for games, $50, $70, $20, $10, but I don't think it should be you're charging based on the hours that you think the people will be playing a game. There should be just kind of a standard price or kind of tiers as there are now, and it should be that. And if it costs you too much money to make a game, reel it in. Don't spend so many damn years making a game.
Before I go to the rest of the panel, I think this is just his response to the reported price that they spent $2 billion in development GTA 6.
Would love to charge $100 for the Grand Theft Auto. He would love to charge that, but no, they shouldn't go off of how many hours people will play a game.
Yield, your thoughts, sir?
Greedy much? No, that's absolutely asinine. I mean, it would kill the market that's already killing itself. And like Alex said, then don't spend billions of dollars making your next game.
All right, so there's a quote here that, because I'm reading through the quotes just to make sure I get the points out there. Matt, thank you for summing this up, but it's just way too much to read at this point. So, but thank you as always as you sum up all the articles. There's a quote here. It says, "By that standard, our frontline prices are still very, very low because we offer many hours of engagement. The value of engagement is very high. So I think the industry as a whole offers a terrific price to value opportunity for consumers. That doesn't necessarily mean that the industry pricing power or wants have pricing power. However, I think there is a great deal of value offered. And look, it's our strategy here to deliver much more value than what we charge consumers. It's always been our strategy here. We want to make sure the experience is first class, and the nature of the experience is not just the quality of what we offer, it's also what you pay for. And everyone knows that anecdotally. So that's how we look at it." So, Matt, you did sum up all this, and I appreciate all that, but I'm going to throw the floor to you, sir.
So, take into consideration, this is Strauss talking to his investors, him trying to justify spending $2 billion on a GTA and how long it take to get there until they get their return on investment. So that's the first thing that struck me in this article. And then it also struck me that Take-Two put out a hurried response after the news article broke, be like, "Oh, that's not what he means." So what I'm taking away is that everybody's looking for a way to I should say, earn money after the game was bought. So this goes back to the microtransaction and the consistent revenue stream, which they seem to have found very well how to do that in Grand Theft Auto 5 with the shark cards and online capabilities. They found out very well it doesn't work as much in the Red Dead Redemption universe. So ultimately, they're just looking for a way to get as much money up front based off of the value and time and everything that they put into the game. But if that were the case, what would happen with games like Modern Warfare 3, which has a very short campaign but a long tail in the multiplayer arena? It's, again, my ultimate review of this is just him speaking to investors, figuring out ways that they can get better return on investment for the times that they've put into these games. And it's nothing less than I expect from a CEO.
All right, Riley, throw the floor to you. You're muted.
Oop, sorry. Yeah, I think that Matt really kind of hit it there. It comes down to, he was saying this stuff to a group of investors, and it's just like if you're talking to your sibling or your cousin versus your parent, like you have to word things differently. You have to put it in a way that they'll understand, because those investors probably ain't spending a whole lot of time playing GTA Online or Red Dead 2. And they don't understand. They're just like, oh, why are we shelling out this money? And so when you're explaining it to them, and then you have the people that actually do play, and we're like, wait, what? This is, this. I kind of get it, what he's saying. It breaks down to a translation difference for the audience that you're talking to. And I think a lot of people don't realize how that works sometimes. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I understand what he's saying. I also you have to. I don't necessarily agree with it, but you have to take in the context of the time and the place, the context that it was said. He wasn't saying this at E3. Because they would have strung him up from the ceiling, but that's yeah. I mean, I understand, but yeah, no. And also, I'm with Alex. I don't think whatever you spend to make a game, I don't think that should have bearing or give you carte blanche to go to jack up the price. That's on you. You make the experience within the budget that you're given. And if you can sweet talk your investors into a bigger budget, good for you. But that doesn't fall. And I feel like I've mentioned Skyrim so many times, but Christ, if that were the metric, then we were all, horribly undercharged for Skyrim. At least I was, for the amount of time that I've put into the game. It's like I understand what he's saying, but man, you got to be careful with your interpretations of that, because I don't want Warner Brothers to hear that and then thinking that they can charge $300 for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, your Skyrim is my division, because I recently put out on the show that my total game time in the Division 2 mounts up to like 93 days.
Right, and I was thinking about that. I was like, well, shit, for what? As much as Tricky plays the Division 2, for what he paid, that was
a great investment.
That was nothing. I mean, how many times have we all dropped whatever the full price was for the generation, $50, $60, $70, and then we get a game like, man, this is garbage, and you play it for 2 hours. I was just watching a video from GameRanks talking about some of the worst single player games And I was like, I remember Driver 3. I know Yield does too. We were there day freaking one, man. And man, you talk about a kick in the nuts.
Don't you mean Drive 3er?
Yeah, Driv 3er. Yes.
So, all right.
I wish the name was the dumbest thing about that game.
All right, Tim, floor is yours.
I mean, they pretty much all nailed it on the head. I mean, imagine if like Avengers Endgame, right? They're just like, oh, hey, we put a lot of money into this movie. It's a 3.5 hour movie, much longer than your average movie. So instead of it being, $15, $20, it's $50 a ticket. Like that, I mean, they would get murdered. Like that's the idea of that, in my opinion, is ludicrous. So that's pretty much all I have, because everybody else basically covered it perfectly on their end. But yeah, I think the whole concept of that is crazy, at least right now.
Yeah, like I kind of like made my points already, and you guys have all made the points, but I'm like, it really boils down to how much how much time you're putting into the game. I agree with what Alex says, like, and Riley kind of like topped the point off. It's like, we're not responsible for how much you spend to make your game. You want to spend $2 billion because you think that it's worth it because of how well GTA Online is doing, so you want to bring that same experience to GTA 6. You want to spend that investment, that's on you. That's the risk you're taking. We don't need to take that risk. Us, the gamers, don't need to take the risk of, well, you spent $2 billion making this game because you thought it was going to be good, but when you launched it, it was dog shit. And now we paid an inflated price for your game because of what you thought it was going to be, but you didn't deliver. So now we're stuck losing all this extra money to justify you. And like I said at the beginning of this topic, to me, this was just him trying to justify why the hell they spent $2 billion making this game. And as
right. And in point, not to cut you off, but just to add to that, that's exactly what it was, because where he was at the time, the group that he was talking to, is exactly what he needed to do,
right,
to justify why he wasn't talking to IGN.
Now, like I kind of said this when I was talking with Riley earlier. It's like, I spent 93 days of my life in front of a PlayStation playing Division 2. That's not including the hours that I put into the Division 1, which I think is damn close to that. Like, obviously, I'm getting my money's worth out of that. Good or bad, I know I catch some flack for it. But, everybody finds the game that they keep going back to. You could argue that Yield got his money's worth out of World of Warships. Even though it was a free-to-play game, he did spend money on the game, but he still feels like I got my money's worth out of it. Riley, Skyrim. Tim, Diablo 4 may be his game once they fix that all that up, or League of Legends. It all depends on your experience, but a developer or a publisher cannot turn around and say, well, we think you're going to play our game for 100 hours, so we're going to charge you $200 for this game. I think that's going to set a bad precedent. That's going to destroy your profitability, because people are going to revolt against it. Even though, I've said this on the show many times, and, my co-hosts and guests have also said on the show, you got to vote with your wallet. But, us, the six of us voting with our wallets doesn't mean shit if 1,000 other people go out and buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it really boils down to how much you're going to play the game. I'm going to play the Division for 93 days. Riley, you're not going to do that. Tim, you're not going to do that.
I wanted to.
Yield has interest in playing the Division, but even if I get him into the Division and I start playing with him, I don't see Yield putting 93 days of his life behind the Division. So
right,
it really boils down to how much experience. Now, you want to keep coming out with DLC. I mean, I know people that are still playing DCUO, and they're on like DLC 43. That's insane, and people are still playing it. But it's whatever the value. This, to me, like I said, and I don't want to reiterate, this to me was just him trying to justify why they spent $2 billion making GTA 6. This game could come out and be the greatest game ever made. I still don't feel that's justified for a $2 billion budget. So, all right. Any final comments before we move on? And close out the show. All right. I do want to point that the Game Award nominations did come out, but we're saving that for next week. That was always the plan. Having 6 people on the show today, I knew we were going to run a little long. And Alex is already blowing up my phone saying I don't want to edit a 2-hour show. So let's try to wrap this up. Let's do shout-outs. We'll start with Matt first. Your shout-out, sir.
Shout out to My Way V. Thank you for everything you do for this house and this podcast. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Come on out to channel3.gg. Got fun and games and some XP for you to gain. Shout out to, gotta do 5 of you. Tim, Riley, Tricky, Yield, Alex. That sounded robotic, but I can't think for the life of me to remember all that. Good show tonight. Thank you all for being on. And that's it for me.
Yield your shout-out, sir.
Shout out to Alex, Tricky, Riley, Tim, Matt for recording tonight. Shout out to everybody who hanging out in the Twitch chat. Shout out to everybody who is in the Facebook group. You guys are all awesome, and that's it.
Alex?
I want to give a shout out to our awesome community, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Horse. Thank you very much for continuing to support us. It means everything. A shout out to everyone on the show tonight. Tim and Riley for being guest host. And of course, you know, the usuals, Matt, Yield, and Tricky. Last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. And yeah, that is going to wrap it up for me.
Tim?
Shout out to For All Mankind, the fam group, the fam community. You guys have always been great. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for having me on here. This has been an absolute great time. I love the discussion. So thank you guys.
All right. And Riley?
All right. Well, a shout out and a thank you guys for having me on again. I always love hanging out with you guys. Shout out to Tim because I haven't this is the longest that we've talked in forever, dude. We need to get together. Shout out to the Proven Gamer community. You guys are awesome. I'm not in the Facebook group a lot, but I do check out your posts, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Shout out to Saber Rider 13, who is hanging out in the Twitch chat and bagging on Neil Druckmann. Just because, yeah, I'm right there, dude. I'm right there with you. Again, thanks guys for having me on. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and a special shout out to Alex because I used to edit podcasts too, and I know this is going to be a pain in the ass. So, God bless you, sir.
Gobble gobble, motherfuckers.
I'll give a shout out to all the listeners. Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody in the Twitch chat. Tross, I see you in here. But he said he didn't want to leave his comments about the portal in the chat because we were already running along. So, Alex, thanks you for that. So, Alex Tross is looking out for you.
Yeah, because Tross is a good person. And he likes Alan Wake too.
Don't boost his ego. He doesn't need it. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the Goddess. Shout out to everybody that listens to the show. Happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you guys next week. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Go enjoy the mashed potatoes.
This is the way.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.